This week's Brew the Coaches question comes from listener Sophie Tully. Hi. When I up the mileage in my training blocks, I have a tendency to develop issues with my calves. They've mostly just been niggles, which I've needed to manage, but having previously torn calf muscles, the niggles make me nervous. My calves are huge, overdeveloped and very unsexy. So I guess my running style encourages their overuse. My question is, should I be focusing on strengthening my calves further or more on identifying the areas of weaknesses that might be causing me to overuse my calves, brackets, hamstrings, question marks, and strengthening those? Or should I be trying to modify my running style to reduce the over-dependency on the calves? For reference, I do regular strength work and have been to see a physio, but would welcome your thoughts. Hoping for a selfie with Gary at the Lakeland 50 in July. And this is from listener Sophie Tully, the strange woman who accosted you near the Three Sisters during your Northern Traverse recce. Yeah, Sophie, let's make it happen.
Sorry, should we start with some apologies, Gary? Should we start with apologies to Sophie? Because I remember you very well, Sophie, running. You'd just come down and said it's a bit gusty up there and we were heading up into the eye of the storm. I think Gary tried to slip a tongue in or something totally.
Oh, Eddie, what the...
He sort of pushed me out the way. I think I went for a photo and he was like, do you want me in the middle?
We're going to need a HR meeting after this one, Eddie. This is terrible. Anyway, you've got, how did she, unsexy, overdeveloped calves? So yeah.
I don't think there's anything unsexy about a big calf muscle. It's my favorite muscle of the body and I love a calf muscle. I'm happy to perv on anyone's calf muscle. You've sort of answered your own question, Sophie, in that, like, what should I do? How am I going to solve this? You're a little bit worried about it. And I would say you're kind of going in the right line of what you're thinking. I would definitely maybe have somebody look at your running style to start off with. We all have bigger muscles. You know, everybody's different. Everybody's formed in a different way. Some people will have larger quads. Some people will have larger calves. So I don't let this become a don't focus on this as like this is a weakness. Your calves are strong. This is great. This is great for hill running. We just want to make sure that everything else is working as well, not just the calves. So you do need to check that the glutes are working and the hamstring. They obviously all are working. Otherwise, you would fall over. I hate it when people say to me, "My glutes aren't activating." Well, obviously they are, or you just fall over. But they might not be activating in the right way, and your chain of command down your posterior chain might be that the calves are doing all the work basically, and the hamstrings and the glutes are like just along for the ride. So I would say you need some more work with the physio or a really good PT to check that the bits that are working really hard are the glutes and the hamstrings and that they're strong. Make sure as well, I would have some regular massage in those calves so that if they are workers, it's not something that you can switch and go, oh, I'm not going to use those calves as much. They probably will get really super tight as well. So you need to really keep on top with some massage, keeping them loose, stretching them. You might like shy away from doing like calf raises and things because you think, oh, I don't want them to get any bigger. They're not going to, but you need to make sure that you're lengthening them as well and making sure that they're working in the right way, as well as your feet. Don't forget your feet as well, because that's all part of the process as well. So as you're sort of alluding to in the question, have a look at your running style, have a look at everything else that's working, go in the gym and make sure that those glutes and those hammies are really strong as well, as are your feet. It's a long-term process, Sophie. This isn't something that you can change overnight, but it's really good that you kind of thought about it and know that it's something you need to work on, but it's probably something that will take months rather than weeks to change or just to develop as well. Trish? By the way, Sophie, you've got the best two coaches here. The ones that really you should only listen to, me and Trish as well.
Yeah, so calves are particularly awkward, especially if you've already torn a calf muscle. I also love a good calf muscle, particularly because I have non-existent calf muscles.
Oh, Trish, that is so disappointing.
I know. I'm constantly sending pictures of my developing calf muscles to friends, and they mock me continuously.
You're no Jack Grealish, because he's my absolute pin-up for calf muscles. I just lick up those calf muscles all day.
And I can do calf raises till the cows come home, and nothing there. So sometimes genetically you're just not gifted in the calf compartment, but obviously you are. So a couple of things I would say is, like I said, if you've already had problems with your calves, the key thing I find is you've got to do a warm up. Now that could be, a bunch of activation exercises. You could do the whole kind of track and field warm up drills, whatever you want, or you could just run slow enough to make sure you're fully warmed up before you start a session. But it's really important that you do a warm up first. That might just be 10 minutes of very easy running or walk easy running, but you've got to do something before you go into an actual session itself. The other thing I'd say is when you're doing your strength exercises, I've found it can be much more helpful if you focus on compound movements, which get all of the body working, the body working in unison much more. So you're not fully depending on certain, for example, your calves. That also might help. But again, I'd if you're speaking to a physio, the physio will know best in regards to that. The key thing I would say is you are right. When you've had calf issues before, you're much more likely to get an injury if you've already torn one. So you've got to make sure they're strong. You've got to make sure that continue to do the strength work with that. Focus on what you can do in terms of the build up, in terms of warm ups. At the end of the day, don't overly complicate it. I would say if you're doing okay and you're upping the mileage slowly, it sounds like Eddie said you've highlighted some of the areas that you need to focus on, and I just focus on that, and be thankful that you've got fantastic calves, and I'm incredibly jealous.
I would say, I was just thinking then as well, Trish, it might be that Sophie's really running on her forefoot as well. So the calf is activated the whole time. So she's not going through the foot. So that might be something to go and have a look at the gait in your foot as well. And they would be able to Pro Feet. I don't know where you live, Sophie, but Pro Feet in London are amazing at a really good proper gait analysis, not one in a shop where the work experience kid is helping you with your trainers, but a really good gait analysis to check that how you're going through your foot when you're running. And this is a non-scientific opinion, but I actually think maybe a trainer with a rocker would help you go through the foot as well, because it's going to force you to go through the foot. But I wouldn't want to change your stride and your foot pattern without a professional opinion on that. But that might be another thing. If and that's easily, you can just get your mate running behind you, check out, am I going through my foot here, or am I just landing on my forefoot? So my calves are constantly in a workload as well. So that might be something to have a look at.
It's tricky though, isn't it? Because if you're climbing
he's coming in,
mountain,
here he goes.
Well, it's tricky, isn't it? Because that would be great on the flats, but if you're climbing a hill, then you
I think you want to go through the foot, whatever. You never want to just be a forefoot runner, because going through the foot means the calf is working as well. So you've got that pump going, which is causing the blood, which is helping the blood to move and feed the muscle. If you're constantly, it's almost like if your calf is constantly activated, it's not getting that pump. It's not getting the blood flow to it as well. It's just working.
I'd say that you have a couple of things that you also haven't mentioned as well. It's like your mileage. You say you've upped the mileage in your training block, but how much have you upped that mileage, and how much of that mileage is vert? So you say you're looking forward to that Lakeland 50 in July with Gary. Get that selfie in. But I assume you are doing more vert training, and vert training has a big impact on calves if you increase it quite quickly. So have a look at your training program, because the mileage and the vert might just be a bit too sharp potentially with you there. So just maybe have a look at that. Also, when you're getting in your down weeks as well, or your cutback weeks, just to ensure that you're fully recovered before you're going in to harder sessions. Also, in terms of sessions as well, if you're loading your sessions.
Poor Sophie. You might need to go back, Sophie, and make some notes.
Yeah. But if you're doing a big vert session and then the next day doing a speed session, so you might be doing a big vert session, which might be, all zone 2 and easy, but that's going to have an impact if you then the next day do a speed session, or likewise a speed session before a big vert day. So you might just have to look at your training program and it might be in there. It's really difficult because there's so many different things for it, but hopefully we've just spurted a load of stuff at you and you might.
Best of luck, Sophie, and fingers crossed. Not long now. Well, until we all start.
Not long now till you're see your selfie, Sophie.
Can't wait for that.
Dreams really do come true.
For Gary.
Be sensational, Sophie.